How's it going, everybody? This is Ray with the Houston Film Fanatics, Sunny 99.1, and I am here talking about one of my all-time favorite shows, and that is Rent. It is hitting Houston for the 20th anniversary tour. We have a couple of very talented cast members from the show here. We have Cody Jenkins, who plays Mark in the show, and then we have Coleman Cummings, who plays Roger. Guys, thank you so much for talking with us tonight. Y'all were both fantastic, I have to say. I loved your performances in the show. Tell everybody a little bit about how each of you got involved with this show.
I auditioned back in March. I went to the open call, and there was a ton of people there, and there was typing involved, and I did various rounds of callbacks. I went in 6 times.
Wow.
And yeah, and then after my final work session with like the director, like 3 days later, I got the call, and it was like a dream come true. Yeah.
It was so good.
So I was a part of last year's tour as well for 7 months. I was a replacement, and I was playing Gordon. And so then during last year's tour, when they were like back in March around the same time, they were trying to figure out casting. I actually went in expecting to do the same role this year, and like I wanted to add Mark as an understudy because I wanted to understudy Mark and Roger for the year because I love them both. And then after I went in and had auditions, they called me and they were like, "Yeah, we want you to be Mark." And I was like, "Yeah, thanks for the understudy." They're like, "No, you're Mark." And I was like, "Oh, right. Okay, cool." It's like obviously thrilled, but like did not know how to handle that information. But it was great.
Well, so how do you guys prepare for this? Like, I mean, you're having to learn how to do the tango, you're having to play guitar. I mean, how long does it take to prep for something like that?
We had 4 weeks of rehearsal, right?
Yeah, 3
Well,
and
3
then
in
a
New
tech
York
week.
and then a tech week. Yeah, and it's just like nonstop. Like we were rehearsing 8 hours a day, and I would go home and review and practice guitar and like make sure I had all my lyrics memorized and all the character work done. Like it was like a very intense month.
Yeah.
Preparing for this.
Yeah, it's a lot because as much work as we try to get in a short time, I mean, there's a lot of work you do like on your own.
Yeah.
And a lot of that. So I mean, we move fast. And we'll touch one number, like we touch the opening number, and once it's done, we're not touching it for another week and a half. So then it's like you're doing an entire show and learning all these new things and all of the small stuff, like where your prop goes into your dress, like where her drug bag goes in her dress, or like how he puts picks and matches, and like where my camera goes, and like my,
all these
where
tiny
everything happens, all
details.
the small stuff, and they coming together. So it all happens really quick. But it's one of those things when you start rehearsal, it's like that's just all you do. Like you're there all day, every day. You go home and you just don't touch the script, and you like decompress, and you fall asleep and wake up and you do it all over again. You know, it's like rinse repeat. But it's fun, and it's a quick process. But part of the cool part about the journey too, and being on tour, is that we just get to keep growing and building in the show anyway. It's like every night we just get to keep learning stuff. Like we kind of are in rehearsal. It's like now that we've had the show together, we can perform, but you know, we just keep growing throughout the whole time, so it's fun.
Well, talking about like preparing for the show, one of the things that when I was watching the show last night, I was thinking while you were doing Light My Candle, do you ever have anxiety, like, I'm not going to be able to get these matches lit?
Yeah.
I mean, is that...
Literally, that's all going through my head.
Real.
During our preview, the wick for the candle was like so short, and I couldn't get it lit. I didn't get it lit at all. And like, so I was like, opening night, I gotta get this candle lit.
Did you light my candle? No, I will not.
I
Absolutely not.
surely will not.
No,
light
that's
your
like
candle.
a real stress.
I always wondered about that. But anyway, good news. He got it every time last night, and he's going to get it during every time when you guys come see him. I promise. I promise. So does the 20th anniversary of the show, does that mean something special for you guys? Because I know for a lot of Rent heads out there, myself included, I mean, it's amazing that we've grown up with this show. We've grown as adults, as people. I mean, I still feel like there's parts of the songs in there that I relate to, especially like trying to pay rent. Sorry, guys. This gig doesn't pay a lot. I just want to let you know. But what does this mean for you two, being a part of this?
I mean, like, the show's been out since I was born, literally. And like, I feel like it's such a universal story, and there's like so many aspects that you can like, as you grow and as your life changes and you have different challenges and different obstacles to overcome, different parts of the story like become more meaningful. And I think like, yeah, I think that's why it's so special, because you can always learn something and always like relate to something.
Yeah, I agree. And what's cool is that as it feels like it's all just happening in one night, it like the story really takes place over like every season. You know, obviously seasons of love, not being cliche, but literally it takes place in every season. So you get to experience like the life of Valentine's Day and life around Christmas and life around in the summer and like so it's a. I mean, the show's been out since I was 3 years old when the show hit Broadway, so like I was young, you know. But then I grew up and I saw the film, and just fell in love with like these roles, like Mark and Roger, and just was like, man, that's me, that's cool, it's fun. But I mean, I was also young and didn't know I was gonna do performing. But then, when it comes around, it's just, I mean, the show is crucial. I think it's crucial. Like the story is. I don't think that it'll ever get old. I think it's something that it was a voice of a generation that's never gonna die, because every generation's got their voice somewhere for something they fought through or for, right? And so this is their time, but it's never gonna go away. Like, our generation is fighting for something right now, and the generation below us is fighting for something too. We're just fortunate that we don't have to go through some epidemic like the AIDS and HIV crisis that did happen. But this story is never gonna get old, at least for me, at least for me. I mean, I'm sure for other people too.
Well, I know I was even listening to the lyrics now and, you know, thinking about how relevant the story still is. I mean, there's a part when you guys are singing What You Own and you're talking about connection at an isolating age. And I'm just sitting there thinking, I'm like, there is no time more isolating now with social media and things like that. So, I mean, all the songs are very, very relevant. All of the content of this show is still hits home today. And, you know, I want to talk a little bit about, too, for those of you guys that have only ever seen the movie, if you haven't seen the play, you're missing like 20 songs that you didn't know existed.
It's true.
And even one of my favorite songs that's in there, Christmas Bells, which it's amazing. And there's so much happening. And I mean, I don't even know how you guys keep up with that, because I was trying to listen to all the different parts, and it's like,
It's crazy.
yeah, I don't know how you guys do that, because there's a lot of songs where you guys are layering different verses over other verses. And I mean, is that a big challenge for you guys too? Are you having to like just, okay, I got to block you out, I can't listen to you right now because I'm trying to sing my own stuff?
I think, I mean, I don't know, I think everyone kind of maybe works a little differently when it comes to that. Some people might have to I might have to completely, like, tune him out when we're, like, singing next to each other. But it actually helps me that, like, I do hear him, because I sing with, you know, like, when we're singing together in, like, the opening or in What You Own, like, it helps me to hear him. And I know that I'm singing with someone, you know, because, like, that's, like, you know, it's like a band playing together, you know. The guitar could sit there and just do their own part, but when they're playing off of a bassist, it's like, oh, I get to play off of that, or you play off the beat the drummer gives you. You know, we just get to play off of each other.
Yeah, the different layers of the song like complement each other.
Yeah.
And so like sometimes if you're singing and then you don't hear that one line that like usually pops out over there, and you're like, wait, when do I come in?
Yeah, it'll throw you off if you don't hear like one line. Like if we're saying something and he doesn't go, yeah, and that's just such, yeah, it's like the most random thing you could say, but it's like it's crucial to the to everything, like to your comfortability, I guess, because everyone's so used to it. I think once you get through rehearsal and like you've learned your part, and then you're doing so many other things, once like you've hit a certain point of like, now I've layered 8 things, now 9, it's like you get to a certain point and you kind of just stick to it. I don't know.
Yeah.
That's how I feel. I feel like once I have my costumes and the lighting and sound and my props and my blocking, and I'm like, oh, now I'm trying to connect to you and sing and do everything. It's like the parts are like so stuck in the back of my brain, it just kind of goes. But yeah, having other people it's like a compliment to it, so it helps me actually.
So, like I said, my favorite song in the whole play is Christmas Bells. What is the favorite song for each of you? Even if it's not one that you're necessarily singing, what is your favorite moment of the show?
Ooh, that's such a good question. That's hard for me.
I just love the opening number, like right after the power blows, and then the band is like, and like everyone's just running around crazy. Like, I'm like, oh yeah, the show is starting now. It's like
That's truly
that
the
part just like
kickoff.
really gets me.
Yeah, that's a good one. Oh gosh, Without You is the music, and Without You, and really like the words, like mostly like the top, what Mimi says in her verses, and just it's like almost repetitive, but it's just
So poetic.
But it's so poetic, and it's beautiful, and for the story and what's happening in the story, and when you see it on stage and you see all these things happening, like it really is just like it's like hyperspeed. You get story like that really, really fast, and a lot of emotion and a lot of story, and the music's beautiful, and that's why I love it. I like You'll See Boys as much as like when we're on stage and we're like, Benny, why you being this way, man? Come on, like, but it's such a fun song. Like, I would love to be Benny for a day, just to be like, you know? Just be cool and sing that song, because that song's always been a favorite of mine.
Is Benny that cool though? I mean,
He thinks he is.
He thinks he's
He thinks
real
he is.
cool, but like, you know.
we all know a Benny. Everybody out there, you know a Benny, I promise. So before we wrap up, what do you want to tell audiences the reason is that they need to come and see this show?
I think it's like such a relevant story about people, and it's like the story is so raw and every person is so layered and detailed that like everyone's gonna find something that they relate to in the story.
Yeah, it's a night of theater that you're gonna feel something when you leave. Like whether you're happy or not happy, like one way or the other, it's gonna make you feel something.
Yeah.
And you know, I think that's the whole point of going to see theater and going to do this stuff, and it's why we do it, so that for better or worse, we change someone's life. You know, so
Yeah.
I think that people are gonna love the show. I think you have to come see it. If you're gonna go see a show some point in the year, come see this, because you're gonna feel something, and that's a promise. And if you don't, come find me. Just kidding.
You guys are gonna have a powwow. It's gonna be amazing.
Yeah,
But you guys are gonna go see the show. Yeah, it's worth your time. I promise you. The 20th anniversary tour of Rent is at the Hobby Center. It's playing right now through August 11th. Tickets are on sale at Broadway@thehobbycenter.com. And of course, in true Rent tradition, they are doing the Rent lottery, where you can show up before the show. You put your name in the hat, and you have a chance to win tickets to the first two rows for $25 with cash. We have all the information posted at our blog page if you want to figure out how to get in on the lottery and get those tickets that are super affordable. And you need to see this show. Like, I can't say it enough. Look at their faces. You want to see them up on stage, I promise you.
You have to see the show.
Absolutely. Once again, guys, tickets on sale now. Broadway@thehobbycenter.com. This has been Ray with the Houston Film Fanatics. We will catch you guys next time.